Over the last couple of weeks, there has been numerous people on YouTube, Reddit, and other social media platforms who has been talking about the actual leaks from The Last of Us 2. And obviously Naughty Dog and Sony came out and said it was someone who snuck into their system, basically blaming a hacker. But obviously the tools that we saw on those leaked images actually point to a developer's kit. So it wouldn't surprise me if it was the developer or one of the developers who actually leaked it. But going back to Twitter and YouTube and Reddit and other forums as such, Naughty Dog and Sony were DMCAing and copyright striking anyone who talked about The Last of Us 2 leaks. It got so bad that people who were using other gameplay footage from a completely different company, so in this case that someone was using Grand Theft Auto 5, which belongs to Rockstar and Take-Two Interactive, and Sony and Naughty Dog struck down that video because they were talking about The Last of Us 2 leaks. Which, when you think of it that is crazy. They're getting rid of people who are not even using their footage. Literally, it's almost like saying Steven Spielberg has copyright striked James Cameron's work. Just because he's talking about Steven Spielberg. It's that sort of dynamic. And that's absolutely crazy and ridiculous to think about it. But, it got so bad that Sony and Naughty Dog even copyright striked and DMCA'd their own Twitter account for the promotion of The Last of Us 2. But what we're going to look at now is that this is something that a lot of us on Twitter and YouTube have been discussing for a while. And it seems to have gotten now into another space entirely. And what we're looking at here, say it is on One Angry Gamer, Sony copyright strikes Jeremy of Geeks and Gamers Twitter account. Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, man. The guy who literally, he's like, no, he says how it is. He's a good guy. I like him. We've talked a few times. And this is just like, how the hell can you do that? So we're going to read it. Let us deal with the elephant in the room before getting into the crux of the story. Some will inevitably argue it is unfair to say Sony copyright struck Jeremy's Twitter account because Musso did. Simply, this is like saying the Mafia isn't responsible for what their commissioned goons do. It's an absurd claim. If Sony doesn't like their name associated with this behaviour, then they should call up their contracted partner, Musso, and tell them to stop. Till then, Musso's actions are done on behalf of Sony, as Sony contracted them to be done, so Sony will be blamed for them. With the elephant addressed, it's time to deal with the crux of the issue. For those that have missed what is transpiring or haven't followed the latest developments, here is a brief summary of what has led to Jeremy of Geeks and Gamers having their personal Twitter account briefly taken down. After a significant amount of footage and plot details were leaked for The Last of Us 2, Sony began engaging in a campaign of false and abusive copyright strikes against anyone and anything, like we said, the Grand Theft Auto 5 situation. These strikes were and still are executed by a third party contracted by Sony called Musso. Angry Joe would go on to claim this was false, but Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers later demonstrated Musso was indeed working for Sony. We got the two videos by here. Sony's campaign of copyright abuse went on to target anything and everything involving The Last of Us 2, including memes on Reddit and Twitter, and as we were saying, it got so bad Sony DMCA'd themselves. Which to me, I think that's absolutely brilliant, just to hear that. Geeks and Gamers ended the situation with their coverage of the ongoing copyright abuse that afflicted their own channel. As many of the claims on YouTube are lifted, it appears Sony has turned to Twitter to exact retribution against the detractors as Jeremy's personal Twitter account was taken down for posting The Last of Us 2 memes. So that's it, literally, just posting memes. That's it. Something funny. And they're like, oh, get rid of it, strike them. That is absurd. And that is literally, I hate to say this, but Sony, what the hell are you doing? I have been a Sony fanboy ever since PlayStation 1. I've got them all. I've even got the other, the minis, the micro versions, the PS1, the PS2, the mini PS2. I've even got the screen that goes back on the original PlayStation 2, PS3, PS4s. I've literally, any of the games console, I'm like, nah, don't want it, I want PlayStation. But seeing what Sony have done, it's like, guys, what the hell are you doing? Really? It's absolutely disgusting to think that they think they can go around and do this. Again, like they're saying, it's not exactly Sony themselves, but they hired this company to do it. And this company, they're literally going out of their own way to try and make everything disappear. They're probably, Sony, Naughty Dog probably went to them and were like, right, we don't want this out there. Any leaks, get rid of them. That's probably what it was, just the leaks. But obviously, Musso, as a lot of third-party companies do, the ones that actually go along and literally say, yeah, you can't have that. We're going to strike you. You used a second of our footage or of this music or whatever. We're having you. That's the kind of company that is behind this now. And we also saw it with a couple that Jeremy on the Quartering covered, where this company, they were literally extorting money out of this couple. I think it ended up like $6,000 or $7,000 they wanted this couple to pay so they can have their video strikes removed. That's terrible. It just goes to show that these people literally, they're like, you know what? No, we're going to copyright strike you because you can pay us if you want it, but it's not even their license. That's the kind of thing that's happened. And we're going to have carry on with this. As of this writing, Geeks and Gamers company account is still up, but Jeremy's personal account with over 22,000 followers at D-Day Cobra, go follow when he's back, was suspended for violating Twitter's rules. It is crucial to keep in mind that the Supreme Court has ruled social media is the 21st century public square, so the impact of having your account taken down is the equivalent of excommunication or shunning in the old days. And for excommunicado, we've seen what that does in John Wick, haven't we? Don't want that. So I'm going to go into it now. So we've got spoiler warning. All of this is being done because Sony doesn't want consumers to know the full scope of the woke content in The Last of Us 2. Content that involves Abby, the seemingly transgender daughter of the Doctor from the first game, brutally murdering Joel after he saves her from a horde of clickers. Followed by the game, forcing you to play as Abby for its duration, during which time Ellie is portrayed as the villain. Sony has become so fanatical about defending this game that they've forgotten the immediate and long-term impact waging war against the consumers will have on their new console's launch. Exactly, like I was just saying, it's put me into a mind of like, right, do I either want to go for the fridge or do I want to go for the router? And I'm still thinking, even though before all this was happening, when they did the reveal last week, I was like, you know what? I absolutely love the design of the PS5. I think it looks great. Again, people are like, oh, it looks like a router. My router doesn't look like that. My router is literally like the size of my phone, like that. It's literally just that big and it's like a little box. That is it. That's my router. So a PS5 looks completely great to me. But I'm carrying a launcher and underpowered behemoth of a console. Goodwill is not something Sony can afford to waste at this juncture, which is very, very true. It's the way they've gone about it now, and they're saying, oh, look at this, look at that. It's like, guys, are you literally trying to lose the console war against Microsoft? And to be honest with you, I'm not going to go for a Microsoft Xbox, I know that for a fact. Mostly because, well, again, it just looks like a PC tower. It seems to be now that all consoles, they want to try and emulate a PC. And with that is, you will get people who just say, just go and buy a PC. But for me, I like having the console. I do have a PC, obviously. I have a very powerful one. That's because of my work, because of my editing. But I don't want to play games that much on PC, because I'm just not a PC gamer. That's it. I've grown up with consoles. Carrying on. Right now, that Umbrella guy, who is currently running a campaign for his latest comic, which he is, the Quartering and numerous other content creators are rallying around Geeks and Gamers over Sony's abusive attacks. When this is over, and it will one day be over, these same content creators are not going to be too inclined to give favourable coverage to Sony. As such, Sony better hope their console launch is as smooth as the Fonz, or they're going to see every issue put under a microscope. In the end, this was a poor hill to die on, but dying on it they are. Which is true. It's with how the console's launching this year. I really don't see how Sony thought it was a good idea to go after gamers, especially with the launch coming in only like 4 to 5 months' time. It's a bit bad. But that's what we have. So, I will leave a link below to Jeremy's Geeks and Gamers channel. And if you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell for future updates. And I'll see all you wonderful people soon.